So in this video I'd like to build a new ship, and I'm going to go for a look of, imagine like a ship from a previous war that was repurposed as a surplus ship. So I'm going to use them mostly, or almost every part is going to be Hopetech, and I really want it to look like an old rocket engine with some improvised parts on it. I'm going to call it the Duck. Okay, so let's start. Usually start with the cockpit and the landing bay. So I like to have the cockpit like this, and the landing bay right below it. Because I like how imposing it looks when you walk into the ship. You have the cockpit like this, and then the hangar bay, or the opening bay going in like that. Then I want to extend the fuselage, because I really like that there are fuselage pieces that continue like the fuselage form of the cockpit like this. Now those are just companionways, which are the same as storage rooms, I think, in terms of you can just walk through them without many obstacles. And then I'm going to go for the main section behind it. Like this. Now this is a Hopetech living quarters empty. That's a new piece in the beta patch. And those are pieces that come without any furniture, so you can decorate it yourself. Because they added decorating your ship like an outpost in the latest patch. It still retains the functionality of the module. So if it's a living quarters, you still have the pre-installed beds, like the racks and other pieces installed, but there's no furniture outside of that. Okay, so I'm going to put this one over here. And then I'm going to... It's going to be the tail section of the ship. Now that's just a decorative piece. It's the Hopetech Pipes A mid and an endpoint piece. Like this. Because I really like how the shape goes like this, and then it goes down and ends like this with its cap. It's one of my favorite pieces in the game. And I really like to use that landing gear. It's a Hopetech 5 landing gear. It goes like that. So it just looks beautiful. The way it like balances out the tail shape. Like it looks like those pieces were made for each other. But the problem is with that piece, you cannot actually flip it. So for example, most other pieces you can... and some other pieces, not all pieces, you can flip it forward or backward. But on this piece you cannot. So if at first I planned to put the same piece up here, but it would be the same orientation, which just didn't look right. So I'm going to use this one. And for the next landing gear piece, I'm going to use this one. Put it like there below. That's the only piece you cannot get from Hopetech. That's a Pinpoint 4G Plus landing gear. So you have to get it somewhere else or rip it off another ship. So for example, I started building this ship off a ecliptic ship, which had this piece already in it. So you can use those pieces directly while you're building the ship. I tried to build it like entirely out of Hopetech parts, but this one part I just needed, so it has to be in there for the shape to make sense. Okay, so that's like the base shape of the ship. Basically, you go in here, you go up. That's the place you can decorate yourself with living quarters to sleep in, and 2 long hallways for extra storage. Okay, now comes the... Now these are really cool parts. Those are cross braces, and they're under the hab section. And those are actually parts you can enter, so they're like hallways you can go through. I like to put the engines on each end like that, because I think it's a pretty unique shape to separate the engines with these spine pieces outside from the ship like that. Because I want to have an elongated long fuselage. It's basically informed by this shape, and just have some structural parts extend out in a skeletal fashion like this, and then the engine like that. I think it really looks really nice. Look at this shape. Again, my favorite piece is just the tail section over here. It just looks beautiful. Okay, now for the hab, I'm going to add some windows. I can see outside. And I'm going to put the docking port up here, so the ship can dock to the top like this. Then it's the least shape upsetting piece I can currently find, because if I put it to a side dock, then you couldn't have the extensions up to here. Okay, now come the structural parts that you need. So the generator. I like to put generators below into the belly of the ship, like the raw electronic parts like this. So it's like hidden under the smoother shapes of the ship. And then the grav drive put up here. Now the grav drive I could also have put, for example, move that tail section and put the grav drive up here. That also makes sense as a shape. The problem is I like this part better. Looks nicer. I could put it in this point. Now the problem with that is this grav drive doesn't have an attachment point here. You can get a more expensive grav drive, then you get more attachment points. But I want to keep the ship price as low as possible, so newer players or players who start a new game can also use that ship shape. Okay, I get this part, and now for the fuel tank, I put it up here. Not too happy with the shape, but it looks better than having small fuel tanks attached to the side. And so that's basically the shape of the ship. And as for the color, now if you're new to coloring ships in this game, that's a tip I didn't know when I made previous videos about colors in this game. You can double click one piece, then everything's highlighted. Now you press J if you're playing on keyboard. You can select color. So for example, I want to use, let's say I want to make the entire ship green or something, okay, like this. Increase the saturation and make it really bright too. Okay, now you don't see much because it's color 3. Now I'm going to accept. Now select everything again, press J. And now it's selected as a recent color over here. Now I can go to the other colors, press it. Now the entire ship is green if I wanted to make it like that. I'm going to press undo again because I like it brown. So that's the whole shape. I think it's a great ship for when you start in the game. Just fly to Hopetech, build most of the thing except for the landing gear. And with a new decoration system, you can put, for example, your armory up here, your mannequins, your weapon boxes, so it's right behind the cockpit. And you can dress up a living quarter. Also, one thing I like to do is to color the fuel tanks in my ships, in all my designs, in a light cyan color, like this. It's this color over here. Because it gives a nice contrast to most of the ship looking like in this desaturated brown. So it looks like a military surplus ship, except for the fuel tanks having this bright color, which adds nice contrast, and also it acts like as a warning, so to tell players, so for aesthetic reasons, to make it look like that's some dangerous chemicals in there you have to watch out for. So that's it for this shape, and as always, thanks for watching.